I thought it was just age. But my legs were already losing something I couldn't feel yet. And by the time I noticed, it had been happening for a long time. At first, it felt like nothing, just a little heaviness in the legs at the end of the day. The kind of thing you sit down and forget about. But here's what nobody tells you. That feeling you keep forgetting? Your body hasn't forgotten it. It's been keeping a record. Every single day. And what that record shows is not what most people expect. It doesn't begin with pain. It doesn't begin with a crisis. It begins quietly, almost politely, like a whisper that's been trying to reach you for a very long time. Most people never hear it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand something your legs have been trying to tell you for months, maybe years, and you'll never dismiss that feeling the same way again. There is a woman I want you to think about. Her name is Carol, 68 years old, North Carolina. Not someone who complains. Raised 3 children mostly on her own. Worked 35 years. Still cooks Sunday dinner for the whole family. 2 years ago, Carol started noticing something at the end of her evenings. Her legs felt heavy, not painful, just heavy, like they were carrying more than they should. She mentioned it to her daughter once. Her daughter said, "Mom, you're 68. That's normal." Carol believed her. Here's the problem with that. It wasn't normal. It was a signal. And the signal was getting louder, even when Carol was getting quieter about it. She started sitting down earlier, took the elevator instead of the stairs, stopped her evening walks, just until this passes. What Carol didn't know, what nobody told her, was that every time she sat down to escape the heaviness was getting more comfortable making itself at home. Here's the part no one explains clearly. After 60, your arteries slowly lose their ability to adapt, to relax, to expand. Arteries that were once flexible begin to stiffen. The space through which blood must travel to reach your feet, your calves, your ankles, shrinks. And the legs, the furthest point from your heart, are always the first to feel it. Stop for a second. That heaviness Carol felt every evening? It wasn't tiredness. It was her legs receiving less blood than they needed. Not dramatically less. Not dangerously less. Not yet. Just less. Enough to feel heavy. Enough to make the couch feel necessary when it didn't used to. A 2021 review in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that early arterial changes like Carol's affect 1 in 3 adults over 60. 1 in 3. And most never receive a diagnosis. Not because the problem isn't there, but because they were told it was just age. That phrase, "it's just age," may be the most expensive thing you ever believed. Now pay close attention to this part, because this is where most people make the mistake that costs them years. There is a specific kind of tiredness that lives in the legs. Not the tiredness after a long walk. Not the healthy exhaustion of a body well used. This tiredness arrives on ordinary days. Days where you did almost nothing. Days where you should feel fine. You sat through a family dinner, and by dessert, your legs were demanding to be elevated. You walked through the grocery store, and by the 3rd aisle, your calves were asking to sit down. You stood at the kitchen counter for 20 minutes, and the fatigue felt completely disproportionate to what you actually did. Sound familiar? Most people adapt. They sit more, walk less. They reorganize their entire day around their legs, without ever asking why. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Carol did this for almost a year. Bought a footrest for the sofa, started splitting grocery trips in 2, stopped going to her granddaughter's soccer games, bleachers too far from the parking lot. She told herself she was being smart about her energy. She wasn't. She was making her world smaller. One quiet compromise at a time. Without noticing, it was happening. And the most dangerous part? She didn't feel like she was losing anything. Until she already had. Here's what the science says about what she was feeling. When blood flow to your legs is reduced, even moderately, your muscles start running on less fuel, less oxygen, less capacity. They tire faster, recover slower. And this is where most people misunderstand what they're feeling. They think it's normal fatigue. It isn't. And your brain registers it as exhaustion that no amount of rest fully resolves. You sleep 8 hours, wake up, and your legs already feel like they've been working. That is not age. That is tissue asking for something it isn't receiving. A 2022 study in Circulation Research confirmed it. Adults with even mild reductions in leg blood flow reported significantly higher daily fatigue. Independent of age, weight, or fitness. Independent of age. The fatigue is not because you're older. It's because of reduced blood flow. And that changes everything. Now the third signal. And this is the one most people ignore completely. This one is the most dangerous. Not because it's severe, but because it's the easiest to explain away. It comes, then it goes. And when it goes, you forget it was ever there, until it comes back. The tingling. Maybe in your feet after sitting too long. Maybe in your toes when you first wake up. Maybe in your calves after an hour in the car. Carol noticed it first in her left foot. A pins and needles sensation that appeared when she sat in her armchair for more than 40 minutes. She assumed she was sitting wrong, shifted position. It disappeared. She forgot about it. 3 months later, both feet. Still coming. Still going. I was sitting too long. I need better shoes. It's just my age. 3 explanations. None of them correct. Here is what was actually happening. That tingling is your nervous system sending a distress signal. When the small vessels supplying the nerves of your feet don't receive enough blood, those nerves start firing irregular signals. Not pain, not numbness, not yet. Just static. But that static is not random. It is your body saying, in the only language it has, something upstream has changed. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that this kind of intermittent tingling preceded a diagnosable vascular condition by an average of 3.2 years. Let that land. 3.2 years of signals. 3.2 years of the body saying the same thing. Before anything became clinical, most people dismiss every single one of them. Carol had been dismissing hers for 8 months when something happened that she didn't see coming. It wasn't Carol who noticed first. It was her daughter. At Sunday dinner. Carol didn't get up from the table the same way anymore. She used her hands. She leaned. She took longer. And when she thought no one was watching, she paused at the top of the 2 stairs into the living room. Just for a second. Just to steady herself. Her daughter saw it. Said nothing at the table. Made the appointment the next morning. The vascular specialist looked at Carol's results. Early-stage peripheral arterial insufficiency. Carol waited for what came next. The surgery. The medication. The serious face. Instead, this is completely addressable with the right daily habits. Carol looked at him and said, "Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner?" He paused, then said quietly, "Because most people don't ask until it gets worse. And by then, we're having a very different conversation. Movement, nutrition, awareness, not a pharmacy, not a procedure room, a different way of paying attention. 6 weeks. The heaviness had reduced noticeably. 3 months. The tingling nearly gone. 6 months. Back to her evening walks. She went to her granddaughter's soccer game, sat in the bleachers for 90 minutes, walked back to the car on her own. Not because she found something extraordinary, because she finally stopped dismissing something ordinary. The signal that had been there all along. 3 things. Right now, today. First, notice tonight. When does the heaviness arrive? After how long standing? After how long sitting? Write it down. That data matters more than you think. Second, move your ankles right now. If you're sitting, rotate them slowly. 10 circles each direction. This activates the calf muscle pump, the mechanism that pushes blood back up toward your heart. 30 seconds, every time. Real effect. Third, elevate, not just rest. Tonight, elevate your legs above heart level for 15 minutes. Not on a footrest, above heart level. Let gravity work for your circulation instead of against it. 3 things, starting the moment this video ends. Carol told me something I haven't stopped thinking about. I spent a year making my life smaller to accommodate something that didn't have to be that way. A year of shorter walks, skipped soccer games, earlier evenings on the couch. A year of a body asking for help, in the only language it has, and a person who kept telling it to stop making such a fuss. She wasn't careless. She wasn't weak. She was doing exactly what most of us do. Trusting the voice that says, "It's just age," because that voice sounds so reasonable. Because it lets us avoid the appointment. The possibility that something actually needs attention. But here is the line I want you to carry with you. She didn't lose a year because of her legs. She lost a year because of a story she told herself about what her legs were allowed to feel at 68. Your legs are allowed to feel strong at 68, at 72, at 76, at 80. Not because someone gave you permission, because the biology says this is addressable. And addressable means there is still time. If any part of Carol's story felt familiar, the heaviness, the fatigue that arrives too early, the tingling that comes and goes, don't dismiss it today. If this felt familiar, don't scroll away. Leave a comment, 2 or 3 words. Tell me what you've been ignoring. Because someone will read your words tonight and recognize themselves. And that recognition, that quiet moment of "I'm not the only one," might be exactly what finally moves them to act. This video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Hit the like button if this reached you. Subscribe to Strong Legs, Independent Life every Tuesday and Saturday at 11 a.m. because the whisper is worth hearing before it has to become a shout. Keep smiling, keep moving, and never forget, you've got this.